In order. First item is roll call.
Here.
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 Okay. Next item will be invocation from Pastor Ray Gurney from Cross Creek Baptist Mission, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance from Alderman Palichek.
Would you join me in prayer, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the great day you gave to us today. And I just am humbled and honored to be able to stand with so many really wonderful people that make up Green Valley. And I pray for your blessings on this congregation, this meeting tonight. And everything that's on the agenda, I pray will be for the good. I ask you to watch over our country. God, we live in such a great place, and we ask you to bless it. Bless these people who are here tonight, children who go to school, and may you protect them. And those who protect us in the realm in which we live. God, I just pray that you give them a safe journey when they get up in the morning and travel through the day and get back home at night to be with their families. May you bless that. Lord, we thank you so much for the United States of America. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item is the approval of the agenda.
A few changes to the agenda, Mr. Mayor. We would like to add an executive session for legal after the police officer oath of office and remove the Guinness World Book proclamation for a future board meeting.
Okay, just those two things?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda showing those two things?
So moved.
Motion from Alderman Johnston. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Arnold. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, agenda is amended. Next item is police officer oath of office. We're going one at a time, or, okay. Start off with Jennifer Chin.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution, and the laws of the United States, and of the United States, and the state of Missouri. I will observe the provisions, and the ordinances, of the city of Green Valley. I will faithfully discharge all of my duties as a member of the Green Valley, Missouri Police Department, as a member of the Green Valley Police Department. By the power vested in me as city clerk of the city of Green Valley, I commission you a police officer for the Green Valley Missouri Police Department on the 13th day of July, 2016. Congratulations.
It's a requirement. It's required. Family photo is required.
You don't get started telling the chief no.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Next up be Steve Thompson.
I, Stephen Thompson,
Stephen Thompson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the state of Missouri.
and the state of Missouri.
I will observe the provisions
All of the provisions
and ordinances
and ordinances
of the city of Green Valley.
of the city of Grand Valley.
I will faithfully
All faithfully
discharge all of my duties
discharge all of my duties
as a member
as a member
of the city of Green Valley, Missouri Police Department.
of the city of Grand Valley.
So help me God.
All of that.
By the power vested in me as city clerk of the city of I commission you as a police officer for the Grand Valley Missouri Police Department on the 13th day of July, 2015. Congratulations.
Okay, next item of proclamation being removed then is need for an executive session for items involving legal. Do I have a motion to adjourn the executive session for items involving legal?
So moved.
Motion from Alderman Arnold. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Alderman Palachek?
Yes.
Alderman Arnold?
Yes.
Alderman Headley?
Yes.
Alderman West?
Yes.
Alderman Johnson?
Yes.
Alderman Stanley?
Yes.
All right, we'll adjourn the executive session. Tammy, you good? Okay. Brandon, call this meeting back to order. Next item on the agenda is citizens' participation. We ask the citizens to step forward to the microphone and podium and address the board. And please give your name and address for the record. I realize that there are people here tonight that want to speak about a GBAA, so this will be the opportunity to do that. So I just want to let everybody know. So if you'd like, just come on up to the microphone and let this on, and we'll let you go.
I'm not shy. Rob DeSell. I live at 700 Southwest Cross Creek. Wanted to quickly give a real brief history of why GVAA was started. TJ Parr and I coached T-ball teams against each other 10, 11 years ago. And we had 3 occasions where we showed up to play. One time the other team didn't show up, and twice 3 teams showed up. And I couldn't handle it. I thought, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Why is it so hard to schedule this? So we had kids crying, we had parents upset, and nobody could tell us why this was happening. So I took a team, we played competitive, I never came back to Great Valley. TJ, to his credit, decided to do something about it, and so we started GVAA. And that's why it started, okay? So everything else that has happened, I don't know all the details. TJ's still a friend of mine. He lives up the street from me. But the fact of the matter is, that's why it started. And I think it was run a lot better while he was running it than when the city ran it. So you guys really can do one of 2 things. You can make it work with the city, and you can organize it better, you can do things better, or you can let GVAA do it. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. Don't everyone come at once.
Hello, my name is Jeff Houston. I live at 624 Southwest Mural Drive, and my son has been playing for GVAA since kindergarten to the 7th grade with the same coach, and you don't hear that too much. And my daughter, she's playing basketball and softball too. This deal that if people can just work together and work this out for these kids, they'll help keep these kids off the streets. And plus, you know, it gives them activities. People come together, and that's how you build friendships and long-lasting friendships. And the kids get along better because they get to know each other and stuff instead of, well, this kid just moved next door, I don't know him. But if we had sports, he'd probably join sports and get to know other kids in the neighborhood. So if we don't, we need to get this thing together for these kids, not just for us and stuff. Parents, they get too much involved, I think. You know, there's arguments, whatever. This ain't for them. This is for the kids. So they need to back them up instead of, who cares if somebody won this game or lost this game? Well, it's the sportsmanship that every kid that needs to learn to grow up, to be maybe a professional athlete or professional this, or even do better in school and stuff. So, let the kids have fun. Let them build friendships. Let them build lifetime friendships. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kent Bailey, 1202 Southwest Lakeview Drive. Not much of a speaker. Done a lot of coaching here in Grain Valley. Coached my daughter here, my son here. Probably been coaching 11 years. And I moved from Independence here. And GVA was here when I moved here. And they've been very good at bringing kids in and just keeping people here in Grain Valley. Had a lot of guys that go and they play Oak Grove and they go play Blue Springs. There's still room to bring all those kids back. There's a lot of kids that play outside of Grain Valley. And I think that's a lot of tax money, too, that goes outside. I mean, it goes away from Grain Valley. Because you get in your car and you're taking your kid to practice. Next thing you're in Blue Springs and you're filling your gas tank up there. You're grabbing dinner there. That's all money that could be here and our fields. And I've got a lot of good things to say about GVAA, and that's it.
Mr. Bailey, did you coach basketball or baseball or football?
Basketball, baseball, football.
Have you coached this year under the city teams?
Yes.
And how did that compare the GVA organization to the city?
I thought it compared very well. I mean, there was a few issues, but
On which side? Both ways?
of the city, yeah, and GVA, you won't ever get away from having issues. I mean, but
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you.
Greg Disco, 1306 Southwest Persimmon Drive. Don't have much to say. Just look around the room, see the kids out here. That's what this is about. They need a place to play. I don't care how we do it. I don't care what organization runs it. I've been coaching with the GVA for 6 years in basketball and 3 years in football. It's a good organization. That's what I'm worried about. The seasons are coming up. These kids need a place to play. So figure out how we're going to do it. Vote the way you need to vote. Get it settled so we can get on with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Alicia James, 1208 Northwest Sawgrass Drive. I've been team mom for my older two boys' teams for more years than I can count, and my husband's coached our middle son for many years and helped out with our older son from time to time as well. So we've been involved at more than just the parent level, so the communication and all of that has been kind of what has been the higher concern of mine this year. A lot of parents were constantly asking questions because the information just wasn't available for them, and I don't at all blame Shannon for that because, in my opinion, he was doing a full-time job, and this got thrown on top of his full-time job. But there was just a lot of different issues that I felt like GVA would have fought for us that maybe the city didn't know to fight for this or that because they are so new to it. GVA has been great as far as being able to communicate with the coaches, to be able to pass the word on to the parents. Emails have gone out to the entire organization. There's just been a lot of different things where I felt like GVA did such a great job. I don't know all the different pros and cons on the backside because a lot of that's been kept secret. But I do know that when I had a question or my husband had a question, it was always able to be answered right away. And then Shannon did every time I called him. We talked several times throughout the season because the communication wasn't out there on the website or wasn't just readily available. I do know that I have a list, and I really don't want to go through all of it because it's not all completely positive, and I really wanted to stay positive. But like the last guy said, it really is about the kids. And if there's a chance that there's not going to be other sports to keep them playing throughout the year, because they do play baseball, basketball, football year-round, I want to make sure that that continues to stay, because it's not just my kids it affects. It's where almost all of their friends have come from. So I really want to make sure something happens to where it is for the kids, and that's everything we've got.
Thank you.
I'm Chad Hall, 613 Greystone Drive. I've talked to a few of you already about some of the issues that we've had. Trying to keep this positive. This is about kids. This is about trying to keep kids in Grain Valley, not going other places. People are leaving. Oak Grove had over 100 kids extra sign up this year for baseball. You know where they came from? Here. That's parents, that's grandparents, that's family. That we have lost 100 kids to Oak Grove in just baseball. I also want to keep this positive. The things that GVAA is a volunteer organization. All the people behind me, these are the people that make it work. They volunteer their time, their hours. Those things, if the city takes this over, have to be billed out. Those aren't free hours. We can't continue to look over, GVA can't continue looking over their shoulder, wondering what's going to be taken from them next. Are they going to be able to operate? Can they plan ahead? They need to be working with Shannon on improvements. We had more building house permits than anybody else in Jackson County. What are we planning on doing to find a place for these kids to play? There's a lot of kids moving to Grain Valley. We have exceptional schools. We have an exceptional band program that's phenomenal. The coolest thing that my kids get to have during football season is GVAA night at the football fields. They get to walk on the football fields. They get to form a tunnel that the GVAA high school players run through. My kids still talk about that. It's got to be a youth organization that is run by volunteers. It can't be run by a city. I would implore you to vote on this tonight. I would hope you would. I would hope that it's turned back over to GVAA. There's so much I can say that I'd keep you here all night. But I thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you.
My name is Laura Covert, 2220 Northeast 23rd Street, Grain Valley, Missouri, 64029. I know we need to limit our presentations. I sent you all a lengthy email this afternoon regarding our personal experience this year with baseball sign-ups for our son. We're relatively new to the area. We lived in the community for 3 years, almost 3 years. We signed up on time, we paid our dues, they were taken, and we were excluded from playing baseball in Green Valley. Told, go to another town and play. So if you would like me to share this email, I will gladly do it. I know it will take longer than the 2 minutes, but I do think this is a serious problem that needs to be looked into. And I don't necessarily think GVAA has the right answers. because what's been happening is not working. We were very blatantly told that the existing teams in Green Valley don't want new players. They don't want new kids on their team. They have had the same children on their team for years, and they want to keep it that way. And I'm sorry that children are in here listening to this. I don't think it's appropriate conversation to be had in front of them, because even though this is about the children, I think there's many adults involved right now that are making poor choices, poor decisions for the wrong reasons, and it's at the expense of our children. So if you'd like me to share this, I'll gladly do it. If not, you all know our personal situation and what's happened.
I have one question for Ms. Colby. Who told you that they didn't want to increase teams, GVAA or?
No, our sign up this year was completely through Parks and Recreation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All contact, all information that was given to us was either by Mr. Davies or Mr. Meyer.
Okay, so GVAA
Had absolutely nothing to do with this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Covert, 2220 Northeast 23rd Street, Laura's husband. Just briefly, I think we all agree that we want the sports in Green Valley. We need that for our kids. We need to keep our kids here. We are one of the kids who was forced to go outside of town because we were rejected. We were told that we were one of 3 or 4 people who signed up for baseball that they couldn't find a team for. And if the coaches are so concerned about a place for all the kids, why would they not find a place for 3, 4, 5 kids? That to me is manipulation. And like she said, you know, I understand if you've got a good team and you want to keep them together, but there's another organization for that. It's called Comp Ball. If they want to go play competitively, that's where they should be. Not in a league where we're supposed to be teaching kids, giving them a chance to learn the sport, to learn how to work as a team with other kids, and not be pushed out or dominated by the teams that don't want to, you know, actually coach new kids. So that's our biggest concern. We want baseball, we want all the sports in Green Valley. We feel like the city needs to control that. Somebody needs to be accountable for what the regulations are, and there should be no child ever asked, or not asked, but told that there's not enough room for them to play on any of the sports in their city, their town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board?
I am Ethan Dinwiddie, and I've played with Ernie Coach Ernie on the Side Dogs since I moved with my friend. And I haven't got any big hits, but I've played good with him. But if people don't train us, we're not going to be able to go into the big leagues like people have dreams to. Bye.
Thank you.
My name is Ernie Coda. I'm at 2108 Northwest Sweet Gum Court. I've been coaching baseball with GVAA for about 6 years. This is the first year we haven't done baseball. I've helped with basketball in GVAA as well. And I think I'd like to ask the aldermen and the mayor to hopefully realize that you haven't made your decision yet. And hopefully base your decision upon the end result, which really should be the program for the kids. During my time with GVAA, I had my problem with coaches and some other parents, but the end result was my son enjoyed it. He had a great experience, football, basketball, and baseball. Great coaches, great time. Any issue we ever had with GVAA was resolved, and every question we asked was answered. This year, I did move both of those teams. I had coached both my son's teams. I moved both of them, attempted to move both of them to Oak Grove. I moved my older one to Oak Grove on the premise that I wasn't sure what kind of program the city could offer. It wasn't a matter of whether they would do a bad job or a good job. I didn't know if they could do a good job. So rather than risk that, we went ahead and moved. We did end up moving the younger team back to Grain Valley. We had a good season. We had a good time. And that was the end result. I'm afraid what's going to end up happening is we're going to start to see a little bit more of the teams disbanding, breaking apart. We saw a lot of Blue Springs kids coming to Grain Valley, and we haven't seen that. And I'm afraid that's what's going to end up happening, is that we're not only going to lose our kids, but any other potential source of revenue that could help the city grow and help the kids learn and play, that's not going to be there either. So I'm just asking that you guys make this decision based upon the end result. And the end result needs to be about what kind of program was for the kids. They had a good program. They really had a good baseball program. And hopefully they're going to have a good sports program. And hopefully they don't get disbanded because we made the decision based upon dollars and not the kids. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jim Beard, 2108 Northwest Rosewood. I had no plans on saying anything here tonight when I walked in the door. I was at a similar meeting about a year ago when we were here discussing, I believe GVAA board was here, and a discussion that I was led to believe was going to be about kids quickly devolved into a discussion about money and conflicting adult personalities. And here we are 1 year later. I've coached baseball for about 5 years. I've been involved in basketball, and I've been involved in football. Currently, I have about 14 9-year-old boys that are in limbo over whether or not they're going to get to play football this year. This discussion that we've had for over a year now needs to be about kids. Last year I came in thinking that was what it was about, and it was about personalities and money. We are adults. We need to change this to be about the kids. That's who we're here for. That's what this is about. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Kristen Kamstra. I just sold a home, so at the moment I'm living with sisters in Blue Springs. So I used to live at 208 Garden Street in Grain Valley. We have been searching for a house in Grain Valley. We are small town people. We come from North Dakota and Minnesota. I don't want to leave Grain Valley. We are here because of sports programs that my boys have been involved in. We've lived here for 15 years, and my oldest son has been in the GVA program for 5 years. I have another son that will be in sports programs for another 4 years before he starts playing for schools. I guess what was my shock and devastation was finding out that everything would be disbanded. We love Grain Valley. That's why we were searching for a home in Grain Valley. We love the small community. We love our schools. We don't want to leave. I don't want my kids to go to Blue Springs School and graduate with 1,200 kids. I want to be in Grain Valley, and I love that my sons have been involved in football, basketball, track, and baseball. And all of those teams are played by similar people, similar families. Their friends are all on the same teams. It feels like I'm back in home. It feels like I'm in a small community. I don't have to have the city life. And I like the small community feeling. I want my kids to have that same feeling. That's why we're trying to purchase a home in Grain Valley. So it would be a tragedy if this could not be resolved and something couldn't be worked out so that the kids could continue to play and relationships continue to form and be built for the kids as well as families, parents. It's a good thing for the whole city because that's what keeps everybody here. That's what keeps your bonds close. And I'm all about close and bonds. So that's basically, I didn't come here thinking I was going to say anything either, but I just feel it's very important, and my kids are important, and I want them to play in sports, and I love Grain Valley. So hopefully Grain Valley and GVA can work this out. Be big boys and girls.
Anyone else wish to address the board?
And I don't know if now it's time, I do have the original contract that you guys signed with GVAA, if that would like to be voted on or anything here.
Which one would that?
One that was originally signed and agreed to, and then the money was returned.
Jim, do you, I mean, you want, I don't know what's, okay. You want to give to Mr. Cook, Hill?
That is the old one. I do not have the new updated that I know it's sent to.
Mayor, as I've advised you and the board, there's never been a signed agreement since we started negotiating with GVAA at least 2 years ago. There have been workshops, subcommittee meetings, and an agreement in principle reached with Councilman Alderman Arnold Headley, at least, I recall, and reached an agreement regarding the payment of back fees and the facility use agreement. And then that, about the same time, 2 years ago, I think it was, you were told that they weren't gonna pay the fees. Then we started back to the drawing board, and in February of this year, you directed me and Shannon to prepare and present the contract to the GVAA, which I did February 20th, 2015, with the agreement that is set forth in the facility use contract. And then we heard back from GVAA about 2 weeks ago, July 9th. So the city did not ever reach an agreement in writing, other than reaching an agreement in principle 2 years ago, that GVAA would pay the facility use fee that had not been paid for 3 years. So that's how we got to where we are. And after workshops, committee meetings, and your meeting, your direction, you directed Shannon and me to prepare the contract, which we did.
Did you have something to add, Mr. Hunt?
Yeah, I was just, one comment I wanted to add, because there's so many times where you just hear public comment that you want to make sure that everybody's on the same page about what's happening. We did present a football field use facility agreement that included back fees as well as maintenance of those fields being handled by GVAA. Once the city found out that GVAA could not afford those back fees, my comments to them were, okay, well, let us know what you can afford, if that's anything. And the same was relayed as far as football field maintenance. Okay, if you can't afford to do the football field maintenance, we all know they're a volunteer organization, and you guys spend a lot of time volunteering to do this stuff. But the point was, if you can't afford to do that as well, simply counter that. Let us know what you can afford to do.
What type of maintenance was that?
It was mowing.
Well, it wasn't mowing, but it was striping, utility expenses, like any electrical repairs, plumbing repairs, irrigation repairs, restroom, stocking of restrooms, cleaning, basically whatever the expenses would be for that specific program, in lieu of not taking any kind of payment from GVA. That in essence would be the payment, would be the labor.
So, with that, that was just the comment that I wanted to have. I think the city's interested in keeping this program going as well, and we certainly don't want to dig in our heels over a matter of back fees, that sort of thing.
And that's just for the football program, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, that's the agreement that the board directed us to negotiate.
I wasn't going to say anything. I just wanted, sorry, Dave.
You couldn't resist.
I just want to make sure we're all clear on the same issue you guys are talking about. The park board, myself, TJ, Eric, a couple others, we all met back in December of 2013, negotiated an agreement where we're going to pay $2 per kid for registration. It was for, I think it was a 1-year term agreement. That agreement is similar to the agreement that I think was brought up here earlier. Part of that agreement was all those fees were waived back then, back in 2013. We submitted the agreement back for a longer term, and one of the issues was we didn't want to start paying until football of that year instead of baseball because we'd already collected registrations. The city said, no, we don't want to do that. What we want is you guys to start paying immediately. So we went back to the original agreement, signed that agreement. I took it to the park board, turned it into them. They said, thank you. I gave them a check for whatever the baseball fees were. At the time, we had a workshop here. That's when you returned the check and the agreement to me. When this all started again, I met with staff, Ryan and Shannon. We sat down. I told them our concerns. Went through everything. We got an agreement back that came back with all the original fees. You guys, we'd already talked about waiving back in 2013, and I've gotten emails back and forth from Jen that said, hey, these are, this is clear, this is non-negotiable, we're moving forward, this is what you want to do. I told them at the time, we can't pay those back fees. I thought those fees were waived back in 2013. We presented the agreement you guys gave us back in 2013. You guys returned it. We took it back. We did football last year. We didn't have an issue with it. It was my understanding you guys wanted the 501c3 deal. I know that's something you talked about doing. You wanted the 501c3 done. We worked on that. Nathan? Yeah. Where are we at on that? It's my understanding all those filings have been turned in. We've been in contact with the IRS. But and apparently that's all going to go through, so that's not an issue. You guys asked us to resolve that. That's what we did. You asked us to do the football last year. That's what we did. Okay? You guys got to remember, we don't get paid for doing that. I'm not getting paid to stand up here to talk to you guys. None of these people back here get paid to do what they do. TJ doesn't get paid to do this is a volunteer organization. You guys sent us a contract where you're requesting fees that was already agreed to be waived back in 2013. You sent us a contract. You want us to go mow the fields. When are we going to do that? Doesn't make sense. Why would we be down there mowing the fields? You want us to do the electric work. I would think the city would want somebody to come in that's professional to do that. It doesn't make sense to have us do that type of maintenance. In addition, everybody pays taxes for that to be done anyway. I don't understand why Guys, I just wanted to get an agreement done. I want to save this organization. From the inside, you guys are looking at us and you think, they're a bad organization. That's not true. You go outside and everybody says, man, I wish we had what you had. I wish we had what you guys have. This is the first time everybody's looking at Green Valley saying, hey, you guys are doing something right. Don't kill this organization. Don't do it. It's in your guys' hands. Let's get an agreement worked out, get this thing done. Let's get the sports back in. There's no reason to have Shannon work on this, have his people schedule, order uniforms. This is all stuff that we did for free. Why does the city want to pay money to our staff to deal with Little League sports? It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, our budget's that big that we can just take over this Little League sports deal? It doesn't make sense, guys. You got an organization here that's willing to do this work for you guys for free and pay you per registration. Why can't we get it done? It doesn't make sense. Don't kill this thing, man. Let's do it for the kids. Let's keep this thing going. That's all I got.
Ryan, do you have anything additional?
No, Mayor.
No? Okay. Anyone else wish to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll close citizens' participation.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion, we open a workshop between us and the GVA board to, negotiate a contract on the football.
I got a motion from Alderman Johnston to propose a workshop to work on a, facility use agreement for football with GVAA. Do I have a second? What? Second, Alderman Palacheck. Any discussion?
I agree with comments out there. We need to get this behind us and get something on the table so the kids know that they got football this year.
Mayor, we do have an agreement on the table, and a completely different agreement came back. So I don't know 100% how the negotiations work, but I think we need to be working off that initial agreement. And Mr. Cook, Ryan, is that something you can speak to?
Further, as far as the agreement?
Yeah, we handed an agreement over to GVAA, and then we got a completely different one back.
Correct.
So,
Yes, yeah, the agreement that we sent covered, field use for football, for the football season. The agreement that was returned to the city was specifically related to football and baseball. So instead of just trying to nail down the football agreement so the kids could get in there and play this season while we tried to work through something else in the future, we just got, the baseball contract was returned to the city, and they said, we want baseball or we're not gonna run football.
and we didn't say we're not gonna run football. I mean, we didn't.
The city's not prohibiting them from, I mean, that's why we're trying to work out this agreement with, football starting the beginning of August.
The two sides clearly don't know what the agreement's out there. Mr. Halpin's representing the GVAA. He didn't know that we don't want him to mow the fields. We're saying we don't want him to mow the fields. We need to sit down and discuss the items on this agenda that are sticking points between the two and get them resolved so we get this thing going. Not sit back and forth with emails and take another month or 2 months to end up with nothing again. We need to get it resolved.
And
I agree we need to get this resolved, but this is not something that you negotiate in an open meeting. This is a contractual agreement. This is not something that's normally done in open because both parties are gonna, for lack of a better word, they're gonna posture as to what their position is gonna be for or against different options that are gonna be in the agreement. Anything that we have as far as a workshop is an open public meeting, and that puts this board at a disadvantage to speak completely freely about what has occurred over the past years. And while there is a lot that DEA has said correctly has occurred over the past few years, there is some information that's been left out. Well, this whole process started actually when members of this city council and the board back in the time wanted to put GVAA together when the Lions Club was going to disband. They wanted to work together and keep a program going. They started a program, and I will tell you that you have a program that was an excellent program because of the people that served that program and worked it. The concern came in that everybody uses the field and they say we shouldn't have to pay anything because we pay taxes. Well, there are a lot of people in our community that don't have any involvement or anyone that they know involved in the fields up there that play on the ball diamond. They pay taxes for those ball diamonds to be there, pay the notes and and the bonds that we had to put those fields there. When those fields are used, and we turn on the light, and we have city staff mark them, and we have city staff drag them down, we have city staff put the white lines on the ground, we are spending more tax dollars to put that out there in the process. And all that the city was asking is that GVAA pay a fourth of that amount of money back to the city, so all the other taxpayers that are not involved in the program didn't have to bear that expense on top of the taxes that they already pay to have the fields and facilities there. If you went out and you played a game and the city didn't have to mark the field, they didn't have to drag the field, they made sure it was mowed and ready to go. You all put all this stuff out there and got it ready. It wouldn't be an additional expense. You didn't use the lights. The city wouldn't have any additional costs. But the problem is we had all that additional cost because that's what GVA asked the city to do for them. They wanted the fields prepped and ready to go when they showed up. In 2010, they agreed to that 25%, signed an agreement. They paid that in 2010 and in 2011. 2012, 13, and 14, they didn't sign the agreement, although they had verbal agreements that they would cover that, some of those costs, and they didn't pay it. They stated they couldn't afford it. And we were willing to look at the situation that they couldn't afford it. So we asked them for financial documents that would back up their stance that they couldn't afford it. At the 2013 meeting that Alderman Headley and myself attended, those documents that I received, I just looked at the total income and the total expenditures. And based off of those 5 years that they were able to give us, 4 or 5 years, there should have been in excess of $60,000 in reserves in your accounts. And I couldn't understand why they couldn't, they had about $20,000 extra a year. And okay, you can't pay that $8,000 or $5,000, whatever the use agreement fee was, because they couldn't afford it. The secretary or the treasurer at that time said, well, we don't have that kind of money in the bank. And I said, then you all have an issue. I said, that's not my concern, but as an organization, if your own financial statements say that you should be able to afford this and you should have money available, you should be able to meet your agreement. You made an agreement and you didn't meet it, okay? So let's look at this as rent. They've gone 3 years without paying any rent. How many people would continue to rent to someone if they didn't get any of their rent? Okay. We move forward, 2006, we had the meeting. We did at that time agree, Alderman Hayden and myself went to that meeting, to waive those past fees on the understanding that we had an agreement that they would commit to pay a per child fee once a year per child, not every game, to cover some of those costs. It was a significantly drop in covering any of that cost. It should have been it was an agreed principle. It should have been no problem. We sent the contract to GVA. It came back with them wanting a multiple year contract, which we were not at that point wanting to commit to multiple years because of some of what had occurred in the negotiations and working together with the organization. When we finally got down to it, and we said, okay, we need to have you pay for the first half of the year. Well, they didn't want to pay for the spring, fall season, which is the larger participation portion of the season. They only wanted to pay for football and fall ball, which is less involved because all the students are involved in school and other activities, and so the numbers drop down. It was difficult to accept the fact that we had waived all these fees that really was owed to all the other taxpayers in this community to work with this organization, to accept a fee that was even less than what we were talking about that another community does with their organization, and to have them stall on getting that information back to us, and then say they don't want to pay the first half of the year, we want to start it in the second half of the year. It was like everything that we agreed to, and as much as we had attempted to work with them, that they were not going to work there. And I even had members of the board still state the fact we shouldn't have to pay anything, we already pay taxes. It's not fair to all the taxpayers out there that pay the same taxes but don't have anybody involved in that program, and you create additional costs to have these programs out there, and you don't at least pick up some portion of that. It is common practice in other communities. Blue Springs. I can tell you for a fact.
I can tell you, I got a guy that sits on the board, and I can tell you exactly.
I know that there are contracts between organizations up there that pay all the watering fees, all the electric fees, and so forth.
They do not.
So I can get that information and make it available. The difficulty in all of this is that at that time, with them unable to provide documentation that said improved, that they couldn't pay it, we're left with the deal that, okay, why is this finances in a problem? I know they had problems with the bookkeeper that left them kind of in a lurch and didn't keep their 501c3 in place. And it shows me a little bit of a disconnect in, as well as you manage the sports side of the program, your financial side was not very well managed. Because you really couldn't tell city staff where you were at on finances and why you lost your 501c3. And my understanding from looking at back notes, it was somewhere around 2012. And then we went and asked the board, as GVAA, if they had lost it, because we hadn't been told officially. We should have been told the minute that they knew they had lost it. And we found out in 2013 after the December meeting that, yes, they had lost it.
Why should you have been told?
It is an open and honest working relationship, transparent from one organization to this city. The city allowed that program and that group to run the programs for our kids. So as we go through the process here, that they lost a nonprofit status, their inability to actually give us good financial records, because I've even been told since that those records that they gave us back then were incorrect, but they could give me better records at this point. To this date, they've not provided anything to the city that shows us where your finances are at. It put us in a situation where the city had to say, do we continue to partner with the group while they do a very fine job performing and running the sports program that may not financially be able to operate? They may falter. And if they falter, we're going to have a group like this in here asking us why we didn't do something sooner to make sure our children had something to do. So, faced with the situation of the loss of their status and the inability to give us good financial records, we decided to take action on behalf of our kids and bringing the sports back in-house.
Alderman, you didn't ask the city for that. You didn't ask the people. You just chose that that's what you want to do. You made the decision as a group, as a board, a small group sampling of our city and our community, to take it upon yourself and take that back in-house. You didn't bother to ask anyone else's committee. You made a decision as a group of small. And some of those aren't even here anymore. And furthermore, I don't use Ontario Park. But my taxes go to take care and maintain and pay for the mowing and everything else. I don't get reimbursed for that. People in this community have to realize there are certain things you may benefit from your tax dollars, but it benefits the community. We accept that as community members. As aldermen, as mayor, you took it upon yourself to take the program away from a functioning program for the potential issue that there might be a faltering situation. The things that you're looking for and all the stuff that you're asking for from GVAA, you're not willing to change your mind except that this is where we're at now and we want to move forward. A contract that can be had in open shop and mediation with a third-party mediator, you're not willing to look at that. You've made your minds up. And right now, from our standpoint as a community, it's based upon dollars.
I don't know if I would agree with you, comment that we don't have that authority to do that.
I didn't see any of the authorities that you chose to do without our...
Okay, we chose. Just like the board prior chose to give that program to GVAA on the hope that they would do a program that was good for the community. They did a good job. I am not going to argue that you did a good job. The kids had a good program. The problem is with the management of the funds.
Motion to get back on point, where this isn't supposed to be a public discussion anymore.
All right. Alderman Johnson's called the discussion on motion. That being said, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call it.
Stanley?
Aye, which way?
Oh, the motion, sorry.
In favor of the motion?
The motion.
Back up.
We need a roll call.
Okay.
Yes, workshop, no workshop.
Yes, workshop.
Yes, yes.
Johnson? Yes. West?
Yes.
Headley?
No.
Arnold?
No.
Havlicek?
Yes.
4-2, yes, workshop, if I counted correctly. Is that correct?
I think so. Okay, next item is consent agenda.
Move that we accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion Alderman West to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Alderman Headley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, seeing no previous business, new business, or presentations, we'll move on to ordinances.
Bill 15-14, second reading, ordinance 2364. An ordinance amending chapter 215 offenses, article 4, curfew for minors, adding section 215-136, parental responsibility. Second reading, ordinance 2364.
Do we accept ordinance 1514 for its second read and make it ordinance 2364?
I have a motion from Alderman Arnold to accept Bill B-15-14 for its second reading, making an ordinance 2364. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Alderman Stanley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Arnold?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Havlicek? West?
I'll put this right here.
Bill B-1515, first reading and ordinance amending chapter 600, section 600.230 A and B of the Code of Ordinances, City of Green Valley.
Mayor, I move that we accept Bill 1515 for its first read and bring it back for its second read by us.
I have a motion from Alderman Arnold to approve Bill B-15-15 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Alderman Headley. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, Ms. Ramsmeyer is going to give an intro to this change in the ordinance.
Mayor, members of the board, based on the discussion that we had at our last board meeting regarding liquor licenses and the issues we had with one of the businesses in town requesting that the board rethink the ordinance that we have on the books regarding churches and schools next to establishments that sell liquor. At the direction of you, staff went ahead and rewrote the ordinance to coincide basically with what the state law says and to regulate it based on the decision of the board the Board of Aldermen, as opposed to the Board of Directors of the church or the school or the entity that's opposed the liquor license. That information was provided to you in the pamphlet of information we gave you. And so at this point, we're just going to field some questions and see if you'd like to discuss it further. Or
I have some questions. I did a lot of research last week, and I talked to people from Kansas City, Missouri, liquor license, and I talked to the state level about the concerns that we have with Green Valley and the church, them not agreeing with us providing a liquor license. I guess we're gonna have the business people up here, or do I just ask the city these questions?
Questions though, they're here. I mean, yeah, you can ask them.
Yeah, yes, I do.
these are representatives from a quaint gathering who are requesting the board review the ordinance on the table now.
Okay, I have a lot of questions because I'm new at this. I'm trying to learn, trying to understand. One of my first question is, how does your business benefit from having a liquor license? How does your business benefit from having a liquor license?
It increases our sales because we're selling the alcohol on site. So honestly, it increases our sales.
Okay.
It allows us to stay in business.
Okay. How much more of a profit will your business make with a liquor license than not having one?
Business plan to banks show at least a 50% increase in our sales. Liquor itself has an 80% markup to consumers, so that 80% would be going to my place of business.
do you serve alcohol at your business that is requested and or brought in by the customer?
Say that again?
Serve alcohol at your business that is either requested by the customer or that is brought in by the customer?
As of right now, it is being served, yes.
Okay. I know I asked this last time too. If given a license, will you have provided bartenders?
Yes.
Ask this question again too. How would the city benefit from your business if given a liquor license?
The benefit of the city would be I have to pay sales tax on everything that I earn. That sales tax is state, city, county, city being Green Valley.
Okay. Because that is what leads me to my next question, because we talked about that last time, and I just wanted to make sure and understand what do you mean by sales taxes. So, of course, I called everybody from, like I said, state level to Kansas City, and they, too, did not understand how we, as a city, would benefit off you guys with sales tax. I was told by the state that sales taxes, okay, like, for example, when you're buying your alcohol, you cannot buy it from Hy-Vee, you can't buy it for Sam Sosa Club, you have to buy it for one of the three major distributors that state provided. And when you buy the alcohol from them, the money goes to the state, it doesn't come to us. That's what.
Correct.
Okay.
But once I sell it.
And that's what I even talked to one of the Kansas City attorneys. She too said she didn't understand how we as a city could benefit by you guys selling alcohol sales tax. She didn't understand how that was possible, but so I'm trying to understand it too. I mean I literally went up and talked to like 15 people from Kansas City, Missouri to state office, and no one could tell me that that's in that field.
All I know is that I have to pay sales tax. So however that is issued is, to me, I would think that if I have, I don't know.
Wouldn't it just be like if bar was, they got to pay sales tax on like a drink they would.
That's a finance question, but I believe that's correct.
I believe that's correct.
It pays the state, and then the state distributes it back to us, correct?
Right, the state pays us back our portion of whatever.
Okay.
Not on what, turn everything into the state, and then the state sends it
Right.
back to the city.
And it's not on what was paid for from the wholesale perspective, it's what's been sold after the fact.
Okay.
I would assume it's they are.
Correct? I think both parties here are correct, yes.
Okay. Because when asking the questions about that, the state had stated to me, and Kansas City had stated that it would cost the city money to do the investigations and backgrounds for you guys to have a liquor license. That was, they said, anything, it could cost the city money to give you a liquor license.
And I went ahead and purchased the background checks, so that would be included in.
You on it, so I'm just.
It's already done because the
Okay.
state requires it, so that has already been purchased and with the application.
Okay, now, what type of liquor license do you want to obtain?
It would be, it depends on, it's the mixed beverage and the alcohol of whatever.
For sale by the drink.
Yes.
What would you say?
It's for sale by the drink.
Okay.
So it would be
So
for
they would
beer
have-
and intoxicating, yes.
Okay.
It would, well, it wouldn't be everything on the list that we have.
Right.
Because there's some all-inclusives there.
Mhm.
It's just like a restaurant and bar.
Right.
Because I ask again, because in that question, according to the state, there are only 3 liquor licenses, one for beer only to be sold, one for beer and wine only to be sold, and one for beer, wine, mixed drinks, and hard liquor to be sold.
It would be that one,
So, okay,
because we have to be accessible for all of our clients.
okay. I'm dealing with you guys. I mean, I really was working hard trying to research a lot of this stuff. So that's all my questions I have, but I have a concern side. For me, my concern, I wrote, if we change the law, it may allow other religious entities to want to locate near businesses that are already established with a liquor license. That's one of my concerns. If we change it for one business, who's to say if they want to have another church entity, they want to put one next to JJ's or put one next to Whiskey Tango, we have to honor them and give them the same. If you change the rules for one, you have to change the rules for others.
And as I saw that the ordinance states is that it would have to be approved by aldermen.
Absolutely.
So I think that it is a more, a third party that's not near and dear to the decision-making. It's an actual, what am I looking for?
Actually, what you're saying there, if there's already a liquor place available and the church moves in, the liquor place is grandfathered.
Yeah, that's similar to what happened, actually down at JJ's.
What happens then?
If you have a JJ's,
Okay.
if a church moves in next door there, JJ's is grandfathered.
Yeah.
It's when the church is there first, and you put in the alcohol that it affects it.
So it only works one side, it doesn't work both ways?
Right.
Okay, so then another quick concern that I have, it may also bring about other event, party service businesses to want to locate in areas such as, churches and schools that have already been established. So, I mean, I feel maybe we have somebody else who wants to do the same thing or something else. It's just, that's just one of my biggest fears, is just
And
the fact that,
they would have to go in front of the aldermen, just like we are. It would have to, as I'm reading the new ordinance, it would have to be majority for you guys, to.
It would have to be a venue.
okay. So I have some more stuff here. So, okay, another question I want to ask you guys too, about the liquor license. Will you guys be looking to, if the city changes it to have this, would you guys would be looking into having a liquor card for your bartenders to work there? Okay, I like that. Huh?
They all would have to.
But that is a personal thing. I don't think it's a,
I like that, because that was one thing that I had discussed too with Kansas City, is that the reason why they said they do it, because it weeds out all the pedophiles, the criminals. It
Yeah.
helps to monitor that.
Correct.
And I like that idea, so, that's something that, go ahead.
Well, along those lines, didn't you guys say you do that anyway?
Yes.
Even for the folks that
correct,
bring their liquor in?
correct.
Okay,
But
so-
even though they do, according to the state, Grand Valley doesn't have that law.
Correct.
So we need to get that established, we
But,
don't have that.
My point was they were
Yeah,
already trying
okay.
to be a good business from that standpoint.
What I wanted to say to the city is that I would like to create a law that states if you are a bartender that sells, transports, serves, checks IDs, et cetera, only at the bars and event centers or doing any type of social environment gatherings, you need to have a liquor card. That's what I would like to propose and add. Let's see, I would also like to amend the current ordinance to the state, to state that no liquor license shall be acquired by daycares, preschools, or any other youth educational centers or buildings. It says, because even though it says no churches or schools, per the state, that's just for school boards, not for daycares and other schools or other education entities. It's only for the school boards, is what that law pertains to. So if somebody wanted to put one next to Duncan Academy, they could, because that's not considered a school according to the state. So that was just another question to the city I wanted to say. And then my last thing, go ahead.
That'd be a separate thing we'd have to, we could do down the line.
She sounded like she wants to amend this ordinance.
I'm just trying to make it better so we won't have, our daycares calling in here upset their houses, a lot of our children too.
Are you proposing?
How do I do it? You know I'm new to this, help me out.
I mean, that is a lot to amend an ordinance
Yeah,
on the fly.
we'd have to probably come back on that.
With-
And I hear what you're saying, but
What we're talking about here is changing classifications of businesses, because you can't have, Casey's have that requirement, otherwise there's a daycare right, across the street from them.
That's why I specifically said bars, event centers.
If it takes a little time to put together, that's something that staff could do.
Yeah, absolutely, we can look
And
into
then
it.
I'm done with you guys, but I have some questions for the police regarding you guys as well. Okay, is the business responsible for the limit of alcohol being sold to individuals? If they have a liquor license?
Are you talking about, are they responsible for, ensuring that the person is not intoxicated, is that what you're saying?
Oh, now you get me, he flipped it on me. Because it's responsible. Okay, yes, so say for example, I'm somewhere, I'm having 5 drinks and I'm a little wasted and I'm steady trying to buy, are they responsible for not selling to me, stopping? So, I know the answer to this, but I want to hear you tell me what the answer is. Are they responsible for the limit of alcohol being sold to each individual, or are they not?
Without reviewing the ordinance as it stands, from my understanding, yes, they are.
Okay.
That is pretty common, the standard practice.
Also, is the business responsible if a patron has had too much to drink, leaves the business, and has an accident or deadly accident due from too much drinking?
That would be an issue that you would want to, deal with, Mr., that you're getting to a liability issue.
Okay, I'm just trying to ask questions again.
But certainly,
Okay.
anytime you have drinking and something, there could be liability raised in any issue in life just about. So.
short answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. My last question is the business responsible if patron has left their business with an open bottle or container of alcohol?
I don't know, I'd have to defer that to Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. That's it.
I have one question on the ordinance. Now, I didn't see much change to it. We still have to, pull the properties within the 100 feet, or now 300 feet. What happens when we poll them and they say no?
It's up to you to make that decision.
Okay, so this doesn't change, this doesn't automatically say that we just say
No,
yes, we have a license.
all this ordinance is changing is taking it out of the hands of the council or the board of directors of that entity that's opposing the license and putting it in the hands of you as the board,
Okay.
approving or denying the license.
Okay.
Have you been in contact with the church at all? Has there been any communication with you guys?
No, we kind of wanted to see how this kind of went, we're trying to keep our peace with it, and I don't know.
They flat out told us they will not.
We haven't, they said that they didn't think that coming together with their board would make.
So are they still using their parking lot and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've let them do all that, and, yeah.
I spoke to Jim Henson, he's on their board, and he still says no.
I do have one more question for you guys. Do you guys live in Green Valley?
We live in Blue Springs.
Well, I know Mr. Henson very, I know him a lot. But I feel like, it's a hard one for me because of the ordinance itself. And, to me, it's like I tell, a lot of, it seems like some of our religious freedoms are being taken away. And I feel like this is their moment to say, this is not what we want. And I feel like if they were to agree to it, it's kind of like condoning everything they probably preach about, so I can kind of see their side of it. So that's why I was just asking if there's been any communication at all between you guys, if he's tried to contact you.
This is a much better way to recognize the situation. It's not just about the problem. It really is a better way to look at it, and it can happen regardless.
And a lot of brides, or our customers want to, have a bar, but they don't want to pay for it. So this is a way for them to, have it. Also, when you put a price to something, it kind of regulates itself. When somebody has to purchase something for it, they're a little more conscientious of do I want to spend the money on it or not. So it kind of, by putting a price to it, kind of regulates it.
And you said that right now people are just bringing it in. Is that going to stop? If you're allowed to license,
yes.
So you're going to be able to stop that?
Yeah.
Yes.
But right now, we can't sell to them.
Right.
So
We've had
to actually tell some of them that we're doing, gonna have cash bars. You guys are gonna have to go out and get your own alcohol and bring it in. We just had that Tuesday and Saturday.
And I understand what you just said about the church. And if they have Saturday services and they were there a lot and had a lot of weddings, like that a few weeks ago, I really could sort of understand their argument. Although their entrance is on a complete opposite side of ours. The only time they use the entrance that faces ours is pantry day, which is during the week when we're never doing it. So even if they are there, which I literally could count on one hand in 6 years, it's not like we're infringing or it's not like we have people outside and all ballooning and doing.
Yeah, and I see that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Is our license a 7-day-a-week license, or is it restricted 6 days? So that you could have something there Sunday during their services.
Well, they'd have to get the separate license for sale of drink on Sundays.
Okay.
So it'd be,
That's why I said, is it a 7-day license?
if they were to choose that, they have that right, yes. But they'd have to purchase that license.
And that's very rare. And if it is, it's always,
it's on a holiday weekend.
3, 2,
They don't show up till 2 or 3.
usually it's baby showers and bridal showers on Sundays. It's not usually.
Can we, and Jim, this might be a question for you, the ordinance passed, they'd have to come to us to get the waiver or whatever. Can we put, at that time, additional restrictions on that waiver, like you can't be serviced before 3 o'clock on Sundays or things like that?
I think there's no restriction that I see. It just has to be with the consent of the board. So I think you can,
So, with the consent, we could put other stipulations on it.
yes.
Can I say another, I have never, I mean, I still own it, they're running it right now. I've never had them come over one time and complain to me, ever, not once. They never called me, they never come to the door and knocked on it and said, they've never,
I've had my phone, of course, been actually caught a lot from different members of the church. And one of the things that they said that is not true, that they have a lot of weddings on Saturdays. And matter of fact, that the high school basketball team uses their gym, yeah, just every weekend. So I'm just torn between the two. I mean, I don't know. They're saying no, they have activities on Saturday. You may not go as probably as late as the evening time, but they are involved on Saturdays. I was told they were going to be here today. I don't know if they chose not to because we have the GVAA here, not that it's their fault, but they were planning on coming full force too today, but maybe there was no seating when they came. They turned around and went home. But so I've had them call and say to me that that's not true, that they have a lot of activities. One of the things I want to ask you guys, I know that we keep talking about the church. The church is not the only place that sits over there. We also have other residents. Has anyone, I saw the letters that you guys gave us last time. They were nice letters, but has anyone thought to ask the people in the neighborhood how they felt, and have a letter or come to us about how they felt about it?
They don't want to get involved because they don't want to get a name, you know,
I got an email about that today.
church, so.
I got an email about that today.
that the church is encroaching on because they want their houses to enlarge their parking lot. And there's actually been threats that they're going to condemn their homes so that they can railroad the houses down and enlarge their parking lot. One of the 3 houses they own, which, you know, it's their right to do that. And, you know, these people told me this. I don't know them. I've met them a time or two in 6 years. I'm not really here to bash the church. I'm just telling you that they have never complained to me. And, yeah, when I'm there on Saturdays, I'm busy. I'm not out there checking out their parking lot.
Yeah.
But once a reception gets going and things are at hand, a lot of times I will go out, get some fresh air, walk around. They are not there on Saturdays. They are not.
But now, once this goes to 300 feet, that's going to entail a lot of houses on Front Street and on Walnut that I don't know if you've spoken to them or not.
Sure.
Well, at the time, I want to make sure the board understands that with this ordinance, it's not granting them the liquor license.
It just gives us the authority to.
Yeah, and I've heard Alderman Palachek make the comment about freedom. And I think as it relates to this, I don't know that we're necessarily stifling anyone's freedom. I think if anything, it's putting it back into a more democratic process instead of giving an organization absolute power to say, no, you can't, you know, do this within so many feet of my property. So in this case, it gives it back to the aldermen who are elected by the people, who represent the city, who make those sort of decisions. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to more closely mirror the state statute, is because that's the spirit of the state statute. We also did add in notifications, so they have 10-day notification for property owners surrounding anyone or within 300 feet of the property right now. That's a previous requirement that was not in there. So we're trying to not only make it more of a democratic process to get the board to be able to make the decision, but we're also trying to inform the public as well, so that nobody gets the impression or the feeling that this is some backroom deal that we're doing with any business in town. No, we're increasing the public input, as well as, you know, the ability for the people that were elected to the seat to make the decision.
Just to be clear, and right now, you can have individuals bring in liquor. You can have their bartender that you require to have a card serve it, but because you're not carrying a liquor license, folks can wander out into the parking lot beyond your control, and you have really you have a say, but you're kind of limited in your say. So once the license happens, they have to stay in the premises, behind the doors.
There can regulate what, how much, yeah.
Okay.
And they typically file it because there's a markup. It's a win-win.
It's not free.
Right. Right.
Okay, so I know when talking to Kansas City too, they pay people to go in randomly to make sure people are abiding by the rules. They said since we're so small, it would probably be the police department that would probably go in time to time to make sure that, you know, liquor license are valid and current, liquor cards are valid and current, and to make sure that they're not allowing people to leave with open containers. Of course, they said you can buy a bottle of wine, you can buy a six-pack, but you cannot buy and take a glass out that's open per state law. So is that something that we'll have the police department apparently go in every
They
now
can
and
do
then?
that now in any establishment, right?
They do that with any liquor license. They have the authority to go in and check at any time.
And
That's why the
liquor
police chief
patrol
looks...
can too, right?
Right, and that's
I
why
don't
the police
think
chief
they're
looks
as
over
active,
that
yeah.
information and confirms that they are aware of who has a license in the city, so they have that authority to go within that business. And the business owner is quite aware of that.
Typically, if we get complaints about a business, we'll start checking it like that. Any,
And just an observation that facility has been operating for about 8 years now. And this liquor license has not become an issue till the last few months, when you started asking for temporary liquor license. And when we found out that even the ones that we had agreed to were in violation of our city ordinance. And that city ordinance was placed there for a reason, to try and protect individuals that go to those churches and schools and so forth from having to be exposed to someone who has been drinking. And I find it, even if we pass this, difficult to get permission for something that would infringe upon that freedom there. That law has been put in place because the majority wanted to see that protection and that buffer from our churches and our schools from situations that sell alcohol. And if we were to give you that liquor license, it opens it up that anybody next to any school or church that would want to open up a liquor establishment and get a liquor license, we would not be on good ground to tell them no if we give you one within 80 feet of an active church right now. And it could be different if you were already there and the church formed as it states in the law, that you'd be able to keep your liquor license. But it's also there to try and protect churches that something doesn't move in next to them and start providing this there. So I think in the past 6-8 years, you have done a good job of managing the alcohol that is used in your facility, and that the liquor license is really not necessary for you to manage the patrons that come to your business, because you have a certain amount of liability to make sure that they do come, enjoy their time there, and don't cause problems with your neighbors and violate any of the state statutes. And that's an education thing from you to those people renting your facility, because they accept a certain amount of liability when they rent that from you as well for the patrons that come to their program. So,
To piggyback off that, because I asked the question, how would it benefit them? And of course, it would benefit financially for you guys. Have you guys just thought about probably upping the price of what you would probably get if you sold the alcohol to try to make up for that?
We wouldn't be very competitive for the spacing that we have and for the amount of people that it holds. If we could hold double the amount of people, yeah, I can see upping it, but right now we're very competitive to the surrounding.
The 150 that we can hold.
Mhm.
do we have anything else? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
no.
No.
Roll call. Stanley,
No.
Johnson,
Yes.
West,
No.
Headley,
Yes.
first reading, no. Correct?
Yes.
4 to 2, no.
Okay, next item, resolutions.
Resolution R 15-50. Resolution by the Board of Aldermen, City of Green Valley, amending the 2014 City of Green Valley Employee Handbook.
Mayor, I move that we accept bill number R 15-50 for its first reading and bring it back for it. It says not introduced. Oh, I just keep messing up every time, don't I? Mayor, I move that we accept resolution number R 15-50 as read.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Stanley to approve resolution R 15-50. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley.
Do it every time. Let's slap her.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, let Ms. Ramsmeyer cover this. We've previously been over it.
Mayor, members of the board, if you recall, we had brought this change to our handbook to your attention back in June regarding our sick leave policy to eliminate all sick leave payout to any individuals who are terminated, who leave, or who retire from the city. At your request, we've come back with a change to that ordinance, to that resolution, confirming that payouts will happen for sick leave to individuals who are retiring from the city, and that change has been made. It coincides with the previous policy of the time served. So at this time, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Any discussion?
Do I need to say
Yes.
Oh.
Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. One
0.
one abstain. So, 5-0.
501.
I'm sorry.
The 5-0-1
Yeah.
Thank you.
abstain.
5-0.
Okay, next item, city attorney's reports.
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
Next item, city administrator staff reports.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, just a couple of things quickly. Want to let you know that the MML conference is coming up. It's actually in Kansas City this year. It's going to be September 20th through the 23rd. As you know, we budget for elected officials to go to that every year if you would like to do that. If you're interested in attending that training, please let myself or Jamie know, and we'll get you more information about the agenda, the time, or I'll be more than happy to shoot it out to the whole board. But we do need to RSVP for it, pay some registration fees. And obviously, we don't budget for the entire board every year because nobody ever, we've never had the full board go. But just like to get an indication over the next week of who would like to attend. The second thing is that the Truman Heartland dinner is going to be September 12th. It's a Saturday evening. The same with that. We're going to have a table of 10 that we'll sponsor. And usually the elected officials attend it. This year's honoree is going to be Mike Scully as the Citizen of the Year. And so we would like to find out from the board members who would like to attend that dinner as well. Yes. So if you would, just make a note of it, and then Jamie and I will just send out a reminder, probably with the MML agenda this week, and firm up who's able to attend. Yeah.
Just wanted to note for some of you who weren't aware, Mike Scully had some surgery a couple of weeks ago, and Ryan and I went for a visit over to his house last week, and he's doing well. And we were told to tell everybody thank you for the concern and the nice big cookie cake that he and his grandchildren got to eat on. So thought we'd pass along that information. He's doing well, and he'll be off work for quite a while, and I'm sure Deb will be more than happy to have you come visit so he gets out of her hair a little bit. So.
Nothing further, Mayor.
No other reports either? Sorry. No one has anything else either? Bam. All right. Next up, Board of Aldermen reports and comments. Alderman Palachek.
Just a couple of things. I don't know, I've had a couple people ask me about the signs along the road, about the Smoke City or whatever, those little signs that you see along 40 Highway and some of the neighborhood signs, you guys see those?
Oh, the little snipe signs they put up.
I know they're just kind of tacky, it seems like, when there's an ordinance on how many those.
A lot of times
Actually, they're prohibited. Yeah, and
a lot of times with MoDOT though.
yeah, it's one of those things that we take down, they put back up. Every once in a while, we have to go ahead and ticket somebody if they continue to do it. I don't know how many times we've pulled those signs down, but we'll have Ken get with codes and find out if that's the next step that we need to take. I have noticed that too as well. It's like we can go through, it's not every week, but we try to go through on a regular basis and clean those signs up. And Snybar and Artie Mize is another horrible place for it.
Or Snybar.
Carson.
And one other thing, when we had tornado warnings and all that stuff going on, and I have a person on Facebook that was wondering that she didn't think that people were taking it seriously enough. And you probably saw some comments, I don't know. But she was wishing that, wanted to know if it would be possible if somebody from the police department, like they're not busy enough, could be posting on Facebook about, you know, take cover. I mean, I don't know, that's what she was hoping, that somebody local could be posting, you know, how
CJC
dire
do it, do you know?
the situation was.
They don't even consistently, so we're part of the CJC, Emergency Management Agency, and CJC isn't even consistent because, you know, for example, when we had the tornadoes the other night, I'm the emergency coordinator for Green Valley. I'm driving home. I had no idea. I mean, they literally just issued the tornado watch, and my wife calls me and says, "Are you almost home? We're going to the basement." Right then, I got a call from Deputy Chief Farley, and so the decision makers, as far as the Emergency Management Agency, we're not thinking website at all, which is why we make things like Code Red, Nixle, that sort of thing. That's really what we need to steer people towards. I would hate for somebody to rely on Facebook, and if our internet gets knocked out or something like that, then, you know.
Can we put it out, I know we probably have before, but can we put it out there on our Facebook page about is it the Code Red, if they
Code Red and both
all hours of the
Nixle,
night?
I will say, I was depending on Facebook that day, because I was out in the middle of the field mowing, and when that point, I had no one, I had sirens going off over the mower, and I was asking people on Facebook, you know, what's going on, and they were telling me to come.
Yeah, Code Red.
I don't know how Nixle is set up. I have Code Red personally, so if there's a tornado warning, thunderstorm warning, it calls my cell phone.
Yeah, my cell phone went off and told me to take cover. I'd never seen that my cell phone
Yeah.
said take cover. Never seen that. So
It's really nice with Code Red too, because they isolate within the polygon, so the National Weather Service, they identify an area that's gonna be impacted, and that's exactly what they'll use. Yeah, absolutely, we can do another public push for Nixle and Code Red.
Ryan, so what about the people that doesn't use the internet and have the internet? What do we do? We send a smoke signal, what do we do?
They got their siren.
You just said that wasn't really working, so my cell phone works for me.
They'll call you, that's the thing about Code Red, is it calls my cell phone, and it does it whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the
It's like the
afternoon.
minute it goes out too, and it calls you.
Yeah, in fact, there was a severe thunderstorm warning issued before the meeting, you know, when we got the downpour and the hail. And it was literally, Jamie and I were just looking out the window to see the hail, and my cell phone was ringing, and to let us know that there's a severe thunderstorm warning. So they're pretty intuitive and on the ball. And if you don't have a cell phone,
I found out from my cell phone. I'm the one that warned everybody at Blue Springs YMCA. So my lovely Samsung phone, it had alerted me. Everybody else had their alert.
We emphasized the Nixle program
2 months ago on our Facebook. We'll re-enter that and then look at the Code Red also.
That's all I have.
Alderman Arnold?
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Headley?
I just want to thank Chief for responding to a couple concerns along Duncan Road. Appreciate the emails on that.
Alderman West?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Alderman Johnson?
I talked to Chief, and him and I were kind of both on the same wavelength. I happened to think the other night that why doesn't our police department forward its phone number to the cell phone of whoever's the officer in charge at night, so rather than have to go through, rather than having to go through, sheriffs and Chief Starbuck's already working on that, and so hopefully we'll have a better emergency call number at night than just going through Jackson or 911. Still encouraging 911, but.
We'll probably continue to tell them to do 911, but if they choose to call the non-emergency line, that'll get an immediate answer. That's what we want to,
We don't need to close them.
We had to prop those open because apparently they're not unlocked so that they can get back in with us and then let them in.
He's listening. Okay. Alderman Stanley?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I have done some research of my own. You can just take one, I have my own copies and pass them on around. And you can keep those. I've done some research of my own regarding all of what has been said and talked about on Facebook about GBAA, of course. And, because I too am a citizen that is concerned for the children, and we're supposed to be about the children, and it shouldn't be about our own personal gains or issues. So I have to hear in the meeting some things that were said. I personally called Blue Springs Parks and Recreation, Oak Grove Parks and Recreation, Odessa Parks and Recreation, City of Independence Parks and Recreation, and New Summit Parks and Recreation, and I personally talked to them Friday and all day today. So a few questions I asked them. I got my phone number, my contact person. I asked what the population was compared to ours. And I asked, like Blue Springs, I asked the, okay, I'm just going to say what they answered. They say the city does not run any youth sports. All youth sports are ran by different associations and organizations. And then they also said associations and organizations pay for the lights, electricity, water, irrigation, and paints the lines for the field. And I've attached a copy of all the different organizations that handle each and every different football, basketball, baseball. They then said to me, city pays for mowing the grass, some turf repair, the cleaning and stocking of bathrooms for the fields. They told me that major upgrades and repairs are paid by both the city and the association/organizations. They also said organizations pay for the cost of materials and the supplies for upgrades, and the city pays for the labor and workers for the upgrades. So they meet half and half to take care of what needs to be done. They said every year, each association organization signs a facility use agreement. Each and every last one of them has a different contract that they give to each organization or association. I asked them, does any of their associations or organizations have their own office space? Blue Springs said no. No association or organization have their own office space. Associations or organizations have meetings at local restaurants, bowling alley, which is Luna Bowl, fitness room at Club 7, etc., wherever they can meet. I then spoke with Oak Grove Parks and Recreation, and they have a population of 7,800. They said the city does not run any youth sports. All youth sports are ran by different associations, organizations, and I've attached a copy of all the organizations that they have that are all ran by different presidents and different groups. They said the city does pay for all maintenance of repairs of fields, but they also said they're a smaller entity and they're able to financially afford that at this time. They said no association or organization have their own office space, city office space in civic center to associations, organizations, or they meet at church or someone's house, etc. Odessa Parks and Recreation has 5,300 population. Their city runs all sports other than youth football sports. It is ran by a different private organization. The city does not pay for football to use the city fields. They use school fields. Yes, they do have an office of their own, they say. I called City of Independence, population 122,212. They said the city does run, they do run any youth sports. All youth sports are ran by different associations, organizations. They said they have 10 non-for-profit and several profit. All have different contracts with the city. It said also, they said also that Independent City is very active in all sports provided by association organizations. They also said that they have one city member, which is called a city liaison, on all boards that provide youth activities. The city pays for all maintenance and repairs of the fields, but the association organizations have donated, just here recently, $10,000 for a park to be built for them in Independence. So they said they give nice donations to comp for them not having to pay to use the field. They too said no organization or association have their own office space, city office space and community center to association organizations, or they meet at local restaurants. And lastly, Lee Summit Parks and Recreation, population 95,000, says city runs girls basketball, soccer, pre-K to fourth grade, and volleyball fourth to eighth grade. Other youth sports are ran by different associations and organizations. When I say different, it's a different one for each. Football, soccer, it's a different, not one organization runs them all. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They said they also, I asked them who pays for the upkeep of the fields. They said the association organization pays for the lease of the fields at $3 per child per organization. They also said no association organization have their own office space. They rent rooms from Lee Summit Community Center, and they laughed when they thought that it should be free. So, just to put that out there, we're not the only ones paying. And what's sad about all this is that when I talked to all 5 of these different cities, it was sad that they are working with 3+ different organizations and they're not having any problems. It's the city working together to take care of the kids. And may I add, I know there was some negative things said today and what I read, but I was told to let you know, Mr. Davies, that independent Parks and Recreation, the sports activity wouldn't be as good as it is if it wasn't for you. They told me to say that. They said that you, and this woman said she didn't work with you. It was based on all of what was said about you. You are missed, and the program is phenomenal because you played a big role. You did a lot, you worked hard, and you worked for the community. So they hated to lose you, but they knew you wanted to do bigger and better things here. So that's what I've been researching, doing myself, because I got involved because I want to find out what is going on, and I want to do it as a team. And real quickly, I know everybody want to go home. Blue Springs was very helpful to give me a copy of their football contract that they have every year. And it says, like, for example, theirs is BSAA, and I highlighted some things. It says BSAA is an incorporated not-for-profit organization devoted to the development and promotion of football programming for boys and girls grade K through 7th. BSA shall maintain Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code tax status. BSA shall maintain liability insurance for those involved with the operation of the program, including BSA administration, team coaches, participants, and any other personnel utilized in the organization and running of league practices, games, tournaments, and other special events. Specific insurance requirements will include, and I didn't highlight those. I just highlighted the key things that we were kind of having some discussions about within our city. They also said BSA will be responsible for any damages, impairments of facilities of the city of Blue Springs which occur during organization's use of allocated ball fields. BSA agrees to reimburse the city of Blue Springs for any facility repair or equipment replacement necessitated by BSA's use of the premises, normal wear and tear accepted. The Blue Springs Parks and Recreation Department reserves the right to cancel play in cases of extreme weather whereby play might cause undue damage to the ball fields or potentially endanger the health of participants, spectators, or program-related personnel. BSA may not make alterations and or improvements to pre-existing fields or facilities without receiving the approval of Blue Springs Parks and Recreation Department and the Director of Parks and Recreation. BSAA agrees to reimburse the City of Blue Springs for program-related costs incurred through the operation of facility lighting, press box, and scoreboard use. BSA will reimburse the City of Blue Springs for these expenses in the form of a lump sum payment following the completion of the lease agreement. Electrical use billing will include an annual utility maintenance fee of 30%, which you guys said 25%. Is that what you were trying to do for us? The utility maintenance fee will be used to clean, re-aim, rebulb the field lighting system on a scheduled basis. The BSAA will be billed by the city water department. Now, they didn't say that. They said they were going to bill the BSA, the water department would, on a monthly basis for any water irrigation services incurred. The city will reimburse BSAA each December for 33% of actual water irrigation services. The city will not reimburse for late fees, taxes, or any other charges other than water usage. BSA is responsible for and agrees to provide for any nightly or post-game cleanup necessary to leave each facility and playing area field in the condition in which it was found prior to utilization of BSAA. BSA recognizes that the Blue Springs Parks and Recreation Department operates as an annual budget which may be reduced by the Blue Springs City Administrator and or Blue Springs City Council. Funds available for improvements to present Blue Springs parks facilities the procurement of new parklands, and expansion of departmental program opportunities are determined with annual budgetary limitations in consideration. And so they also said in here, BCAA agrees to abide by the City of Blue Springs, which I love this, 4 guiding principles, which are, we are a family-oriented community. Love that. We desire a high level of livability and community that is user-friendly and an easy place to live. We desire to strive for and recognize quality in all aspects of living and working in the city. We value and appreciate the importance of innovation and problem solving and charting a future course for our community. I'm going to read this last few part. They also have in here, in conjunction with the extending BSAA facility use privileges, the Blue Springs, Missouri Parks and Recreation Department agrees to establish a departmental contact person to act as a liaison to Blue Springs Athletic Association, Inc. This departmental employee will provide, upon request, assistance regarding recreation programming, scheduling and rescheduling efforts, and departmental philosophy. All of the youth athletic associations, including BSAA, are invited to attend the monthly meetings of Blue Springs Parks Commission. Schedule and perform standard maintenance tasks at city-owned and operated facilities. This is to include routine mowing of ball fields, routine park system trash removal, not exempting the various leagues from post-game cleanup responsibilities, provision for facility and field lighting, provision and maintenance for facility restroom, provision for facility seating at game sites, and general repair and or replacement of broken facility lights, electrical components, fencing, etc. City is not responsible for any scoreboard or scoreboard controller repair, maintenance, or upkeep. And lastly, the Director of Parks and Recreation will work cooperatively with BSAA to establish a mutually acceptable utilities reimbursement schedule. That is some of the things I've read and scanned through with how Blue Springs handles their contracts. This is the football. So, so my last thing is, because like I had people too, like I understand GBAA is upset. I've had parents that have complained to me, and I'm going to get with you to find out when can I go to the next school board meeting, because that's one of the issues a couple of issues that the parents have when it comes to swimming. They want to know, why don't we have a swim team? Why don't we have one here? And they want us to make one and build one tomorrow, but of course that can't happen. I know that a lot of people spoke about GVAA bringing a lot of money and losing a lot of money. We have a lot of kids that swim that have moved from Grain Valley to move to Blue Springs because they have a great swim team and we don't have one. So that's another thing I've expressed before too, that Kansas City doesn't have, especially East Side, we don't have an indoor pool. So for my daughter, when she swims in Blue Springs Teen Swim Academy, we have to go to Topeka, Kansas. We got to go to, which I love MU. It's nice to see the big pool, but it's by way to Columbia to go to their pool. We got to go to Platte City next week. We just came from Lee Summer. We have to go all the way out because we don't have any pools here, and it's a lot of people that swim. And there's money to be made here as well. They're looking for an indoor pool to host on our own here. I noticed that people have said that they shouldn't have to pay taxes twice, and it's understandable what they're saying. And I know everybody want to go home, but me as a parent too that has to pay out. For example, this is my daughter's contract with Blue Springs Teen Swim Academy, and I love the team. So far, I've paid $1,500 for a whole year for my daughter to swim. That's so far my bill. It luckily ends, thank the Lord, next month, so it might be a little over $1,500. My daughter swims in the age group. The contracts that I have to pay, have to sign, just for the contract part is $1,140 per year. Doesn't include my fees of paying either $4.50 to $10. What is it? It doesn't include all the other fees that I have to incur when she swims. I have to find that. And then, like I heard somebody say on Facebook that they don't feel like they should do fundraising. With my daughter's swim team, you don't have to pay for it. You can pay the money at your pocket. You don't have to fundraise and pay the money at your pocket, but we have to sell $260 per year on top of us paying that $1,140. That's just for my daughter being an age group. If you are a senior, you have to pay $1,680 per year, and that's not including your $260. And for example, when she starts over again this year, I'm going to have to pay registration fees, which is going up, we were just told, going up because pool costs have went up. So we have to pay more for Blue Springs Centennial and have to pay more for Blue Springs YMCA. It's $50 per family, per swimmer for us to pay through a UA swimming requires, which is, something that we have to pay. Then we have to pay another $85 for, the swimmer for another fee. Then we gotta pay another, when I have to pay for the store, it's like $400 just to get a store. That's not including my $1,100 and something dollars. So to say that, I feel their pain, but the city, and I asked Blue Springs this, the city of Blue Springs does not pay for the maintenance of my daughter to swim. It is not a city activity. It's a private organization. The city funds that they feel like that, the city pays, it goes towards city activities. So if the city was running this program, then they may account for some of the costs. But since it's not a city activity, we as parents have to incur all the current or future costs. And it's kind of hardening for me because just to hear my coaches tell me that now Blue Springs YMCA wants us to pay a membership per child and pay $40 on top of that to swim there. We can't, they're looking to change that for us. Blue Springs Centennial just got bought out by the school district. So now they're going to charge us more to swim there. They said our fee per hour, my daughter swims 3 days a week, an hour and a half she swims. We were already paying, to my understanding, $11 or $12 per lane per hour for our children to swim. Now Blue Springs YMCA is looking to raise it to $17 per hour. You know, so I get what everybody's saying. It costs. I feel like it's not Blue Springs' responsibility to pay for my daughter to swim. That is my choice. I have a choice to send her there. I have a choice to send her elsewhere. So I just wanted to just put that out there. Everybody can pull things out that they're upset about. I wish we had a swim team here so I didn't have to drive away to Blue Springs to do it. I would love to keep the money here, but we don't have it. It does make me sad to know that Oak Grove has one, and they're small enough, and they've had one for, they said, 12-plus years. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
Next item is mayor's report. I don't have anything additional to report. We do have a need for an executive session for items relating to real estate. Correct, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Just real estate?
Can I please ask one more question? Allowed.
Well, you can come up and ask, you can come and ask if after I do this.
Okay.
And do it after the meeting, you can do it.
Fine.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the executive session? Motion from Alderman Johnston. Do I have a second? Second Alderman Arnold. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please